Good, good afternoon. It's Monday, April the 20th. My name is Angela, and we are reading Comfortable with Uncertainty by Pema Chodron. And today we're reading chapter 23 called The Facts of Life, Egolessness. Let me open up my book to that chapter. Excuse me. The second mark of existence is egolessness, sometimes called no self. So just to remind you that there was a chapter a few days ago called The Facts of Life, Impermanence. So they're referring back to impermanence as they're now talking about egolessness. So I'm going to just start over. The second mark of existence is egolessness, sometimes called no self. These words can be misleading. They don't mean that we disappear or that we erase our personality. Egolessness means that the fixed idea that we have about ourselves as solid and separate from each other is painfully limiting. That we take ourselves so seriously, that we are so absurdly important in our own minds is a problem. Self-importance is like a prison for us, limiting us to the world of our likes and dislikes. We end up bored to death with ourselves and our world, and we end up dissatisfied. We have two alternatives. Either we take everything to be sure and real, or we don't. Either we accept our fixed versions of reality, or we begin to challenge them. In Buddha's opinion, to train in staying open and curious, to train in dissolving the barriers that we erect between ourselves and the world, is the best use of our human lives. In the most ordinary terms, egolessness is a flexible identity. It manifests as inquisitiveness, as adaptability, as humor, as playfulness. It is our capacity to relax with not knowing, not figuring everything out, with not being at all sure about who we are or who anyone else is. Or who anyone else is either. Every moment is unique, unknown, completely fresh. For a warrior in training, egolessness is a cause of joy rather than a cause of fear. And so I'm about this question of what would it be like, which is a form of questioning that I've learned from Katrina Messenger and from Wendy Palmer, who's the author of Intuitive Body, where she introduces the what would it be like question. But what would it be like if our identities were flexible, if we could look at the reality of ourselves, our lives, what we take for granted, with a spirit of inquisitiveness and curiosity. Like, I wonder what is going to happen, as opposed to this is the way it has to be because this is who I am on the inside. But to let that be a little bit looser, a little bit freer, to let yourself respond to how the moment needs us to respond rather than to solidified patterns of how we've always responded, because that's how we've always responded in the past. And, I think about how could you please sit down? Thank you. Talk about being flexible. I've completely lost my train of thought. Oh, goodness. Yeah, wow. Hold on just a second. I will catch it. and it's gone. Woo! Oh, I know. I was gonna say, after after the pandemic that we're experiencing right now. I mean, once that is, I guess, over, and we're going back into the world, what would it be like if we took the time that we've been going through this challenge, going through this crisis? What if we took what we learned from that and applied it to, how things will be afterwards? Because we really don't know. Like, we don't know what it's going to look like. We don't know when, it's going to happen. We don't know if things will go back to normal or if they will be something whole brand new. And if what is that newness? We don't know. And just being allowing ourselves to be open and flexible so that we can respond to how the moment needs us to respond. And embracing that somehow, not with fear, but with hope. So that is, I think, the lesson I'm going to take from today. And, sit with that. Like, who am I? And who do I think I am? And who could I be? And what could I do? And how could I respond? Anyway, and with that, just say always that I love you, I see you, and I am for you. And let us all be here for each other. And let us all give ourselves and each other the gift of loving kindness and the gift of gentleness and compassion during this time. I'd love to hear your thoughts about any of the stuff that I've talked about or that we've read. So, feel free to comment, whether it's here on Facebook or YouTube. I post all of these onto YouTube because they have automatic captioning there. So for folks who are deaf or hard of hearing, it's not perfect, but it's the best I can do with what I've got. Anyway, I wish you peace and blessed be.